Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods this morning. How's everybody doing on this Sunday morning? It is great because from here on out, we have football to deal with pretty much every Sunday except for the Sunday before the season starts and the Sunday before the Super Bowl. That's it. We got football, tons and tons of football here to talk about. So I don't know about you, but I am excited and happy, and to think that we already have 2 of the 4 preseason games under our belt. Interesting point here is, I've been watching, of course, we watched the Washington game. We watched the Eagles game, and we watched I watched the highlights, or should I say the lowlights of the Giants game, as well, of course, as our Cowboys. If you are one of those people that believe that preseason is where you're going to, really figure out where your team's going to go, I got to tell you, none of us are looking pretty good right now with preseason because we all stink as far as preseason goes. The Giants against the Jets, it's kind of a deja vu for me. I like to look back in the history of football and see things that have happened because that'll help give you clues to the future. They always say that there are really no new ideas, just basically they're all rehashed. And even though football has evolved, the same basic principles are there. It's about beating the guy in front of you. Can I kick the crap out of that guy in front of me to get an advantage? That's what it all boils down to. Thinking back to the Giants, I remember when they back and had Odell Beckham, they had Sterling Shepard, and they signed Brandon Marshall. And I remember them talking about, oh my God, you've got 2-time Super Bowl champion Eli Manning. You got Odell Beckham, Mr. One-Handed Catch. You got Sterling Shepard. And now you add Brandon Marshall. They're going to be lighting people up. How are you going to stop that offense? Those great wide receivers. And I said, it's great to have wide receivers, guys that can catch the ball and stuff. But I said, you still have Eli Manning without an offensive line. People were saying they are an odds-on Super Bowl favorite. I remember Sims. They're one of my Super Bowl favorites. They're going to be awesome. I believe that was 2017. I want to say that was 2017. And the Giants literally went down the toilet because their offensive line stunk. It was terrible. It was great that he had weapons, but he didn't have enough time to be able to get the ball to him. And at that advanced age, Eli just could not escape. And Eli would just kind of go down. Enter now, 4 years, 5 years later. If preseason is a precursor to the regular season, and this is where I still say we're talking about practice games, not real games, practice games. The Giants have some real issues on offensive line, and I'm not saying that we don't. We haven't played all of our people, but just looking at this game against the Jets, this wasn't Washington, with Chase Young and Montez Sweat and those guys. This was the Jets, a team that is really, really bad. If they don't fix that offensive line, they're in trouble. But again, it's preseason. The Eagles, even though Philly 500 believes they're headed to the Super Bowl, I'm not quite on that bandwagon with those guys yet. We ended up playing pretty sloppy last week ourselves, and we have a lot of work to do as well. And Washington, Chase Young looks really good. I can say that much. Chase Young looks really good, but I'm not sold on Ryan Fitzpatrick being the guy who's going to become Joe Montana that'll lead him to the promised land. But, we've got a whole season to work all this stuff out. So let's get on to our Cowboys. And shout out to everybody who came in on our fantasy football draft yesterday. Shout out to Philly 500 joining us. DMV was in there drafting. E2 Blue, my man, the stinking Giant fan. I actually want to get his reaction to what his team did yesterday, losing to the Jets 12-7. But they did get in the end zone, though, so I can't really say a whole lot. Our Cowboys are back from training camp in Oxnard and get back on the field tomorrow to open up facilities and training camp there at the Star and getting back to field and getting back to work. We do have a few injuries that we're dealing with. Fortunately, Dak is back healing well. The MRI that he took over the weekend showed that everything is progressing in the lat. And let's clarify something here. People keep saying Dak's shoulder, okay? It's not Dak's shoulder as in like the rotator cuff and things like that. It's basically the latimus muscle right back here. That was actually just a little sore. Just kind of pulled the muscle a little bit. Nothing structural, nothing like, ligaments or a tear or anything like that. It was just a sore muscle. And out of precaution, they kept him out of practice and so on, and they're bringing him back slowly. I still believe that from Dak being injured and not being able to do the things that he wanted to, once they ended up, releasing him, clearing him with his ankle that he just threw so damn much and is on a mission to get this season perfect, that he just overworked it. I got my wrist is just worn out from building all this other stuff like that, and I kind of have to take it a little easy, take some, Advil to take down some of the swelling and stuff like that, ice it, and then in a day or two, it's okay. Same thing with any other muscle in your body. So he'll be fine. In fact, he may play Saturday night against the Texans. Eastside, Harold, you got that, Eastside? Yeah. We'll see what happens in that one. Maybe Deshaun Watson plays in that one. He's getting a little testy there with wanting to know why the press is always there taking pictures. As he puts it, it's the same shit every day. But the Cowboys do, like everybody right now, have some guys that are a little bit injured. We know that Dalton Schultz tweaked his ankle a little bit, so he's got a sprain. It doesn't appear to be anything major. We do know about Gallimore, 4 to 6 weeks with a dislocated elbow. It just sounds really painful. I mean, when you see or read up on a dislocated elbow, basically you've got the bone that literally came out of the socket there, and of course it's popped back in, but you have swelling, you have a lot of pain, you have inflammation that's in there, and it can be very, very painful. But it's not something that will need surgery on. It's going to need time and dealing mainly with the pain and stuff on there. But when you have something like that, you will feel it every time you try to extend, and as a defensive lineman, you will need to be able to extend that arm because you've got to be able to fight pressure and be able to wrap up on people. So it could be that we do miss him for a couple of weeks. And that's where we are right now. The Cowboys do have a lot of work to do on getting things together, although we haven't had the team that's really going to take the field together for quite a while because of Dak's shoulder, because Amari Cooper just got there, and because, of course, they're protecting the veterans as much as possible. This week's game is probably going to be the one that you circle and say, Dak and crew may play the first half to kind of really get them together, maybe only a quarter, who knows. But to try and get some of that timing together. The last game, I don't expect to see them a whole lot, although the changes in preseason give you a 2-week window. Before it used to be we'd play all the games on Thursday nights, no games on Sundays, and then you had the start game that Thursday. This year, because they reduced the amount of preseason games, you have the last preseason games, you have a Sunday with no football, and then you go on to the next week. So you got 2 weeks of time in there, in essence, a bye week, so to speak. And that's where we are. So it'll be quiet on the Cowboys front today. Later on, I've actually got to hit the road here. I've got to take these cabinets down to this rental property and start installing them. But we'll be talking about the Dallas Cowboys all of a sudden have some hard decisions to make because they all of a sudden have some pass rushers out there. Quite a few guys that have stepped up between Bradley and Rondell Carter, who stepped up really well, and OC playing. So all of a sudden, there's some guys that we have that we may end up having to cut that may make it on other rosters that teams may be eyeing. And this is kind of a different position than we usually are in, that usually we don't have enough guys to rush it. This year, things are going to be kind of tough decision-wise. And, of course, then there's the whole Tristan Hill. Tristan Hill may have just gotten new life because Gallimore's injury. And so with that being said, y'all, I've got to get ready to hit the road, and I'll be keeping you up to date with any news that is the Dallas Cowboys. You know how we roll. I'm Mark Holmes, and I will see you soon.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?